Welcome back, Pokemon Trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it is Monday, September 12th, which means it's time for another Pokemon news update video thingy here on the channel. As I always do, first mention of the video is going to be that I have a booster pack of Pokemon TCG I'll be opening up towards the end of the video. It is the Phantom Forces expansion today. Currently not standard legal, but the ever-coveted Versus Seeker is in the set, and thanks to the Secret Rare Versus Seeker in Primal Clash, the Phantom Forces Versus Seeker is also currently standard legal because of that. So, if you're interested in a chance to win the code card from this pack when I open it up, stay tuned for the question of the day, which I'll give you towards the end of the video. Just before I open up this video, before I open up the pack, how about that? And you have a chance to win the code card when I do the drawing for that on this coming Sunday, which is the 18th of September, I believe it is. The 2-month period until Sun and Moon come out. Anyway, before we get further into the news, we are going to go over last week's question of the day. That question was, which Pokemon would you like to see get an Alola form, and what types would it be? And that was a chance to win. There was 2 code cards from last week, Furious Fists and Steam Siege, kind of spanning 2 different formats of the TCG right now. So the winner of the Furious Fist code card that I pulled out of that pack, viewer named Jake, and Jake says, my favorite Pokemon would be Snorlax, so I'd make him a pure Dark type. I feel it would bring a nice twist to him, and I feel like there aren't enough defensive Dark types, so it would be very good. First of all, if you want a defensive Dark type, you don't need to look anywhere other than Umbreon. That thing is a tank. But it'd be cool to have an Alolan Snorlax of Dark type. It'd be interesting to see if they were to do something like this. How would the Pulverizing Pancake work? Like, this is something we haven't really talked about as far as attacks and like the Z moves in specific. But so we know that there's going to be like, for example, Waterium Z and Electrium Z, so you're going to get a type of Z move based off that. But the Snorlium Z, Pulverizing Pancake attack, will that be considered a normal type attack, or will it be a move that, for example, maybe Snorlax itself gets stabbed from? Is it like a Snorlax type attack? I would assume it's going to be normal type, because of course Snorlax is a normal type Pokemon, but as far as the Alolan Raichu, was it Stoked Spark Surfer? I'm assuming that's an electric type attack, but I don't know what's going to happen with these Z moves. There's type-specific ones, and there's also now Pokemon-specific ones. But in about 2 months' time, 2 months and a week or so, we're going to find out exactly what these Z moves are all about. Well, congratulations to Jake for winning the Furious Fist code card, the winner of the Steam Siege code card, a more recent subscriber by the name of Lightning Malittens, and Lightning says, I love Garchomp, so I think an Alolan Garchomp and family should become a water type. Its backstory could be, after moving from the land, they decided to move into the water and slowly adapted to sea life. Garchomp would also look more like a shark than a land shark. And it's interesting, I think it might have been a video of the Jay Wits that I was watching, talking about possible mix-ups of Pokemon evolutions and such. Like, you might have heard this where people think that originally Venonat was meant to evolve into Butterfree, because the face looks the same, the coloring is the same, the body shape is kind of the same too, like the hands and feet look similar, the antenna. So there's a lot of similarities between Venonat and Butterfree that makes some people think maybe that those Pokemon evolution lines were switched at one point. Another thing that they said in this video, if you look at Carvanha and Garchomp, they have pretty similar coloring and design features and some patterns too. I think there's like almost like a star shape on Garchomp's head, while there's also a star shape on Carvanha's head too. So some people debate that maybe Garchomp was initially intended to be an evolution of Carvanha. So it'd be interesting to see if they made an Alolan Garchomp to be more like a shark, because we all know Carvanha evolves into Sharpedo as things stand already. But anyway, congratulations to Jake and Lightning Malittens for winning those 2 packs, or the 2 code cards from those packs last week. And again, you've got a chance to win the Phantom Forces code card as I open this up towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But let's get into the rest of the news. Now, the first thing that I will mention, I'm going to get the elephant out of the room right now. As I upload this today, a new Koro leak in Japan has been revealed with new information about Pokemon Sun and Moon. I've mentioned before that I'm not super interested in covering leaks like that, because personally, I would rather wait until we have like, an English translated trailer and we can look at all the footage and stuff in action. Because right now, if I was to look at the information, like, first of all, the only way I'd be able to do any of this Koro leak coverage would be to go to Cerebi.net. You guys can easily do that. In fact, I will put a link in the description if you don't know where to go. I'll link you right to that website. They do all the hard work of getting this information and translating it for us, and I would basically just be reiterating what they've already said. And on top of that, I would just be like, look at that cool looking Pokemon! Wow, what is this? So there's really not much that I can add personally. Plus, there's other bigger channels out there that cover this stuff as it is. And I don't think my coverage of the leak would really be that much to really throw into the ring. But I suppose in that sense, me recapping and covering the trailers isn't really that big of a thing either. But I still like doing that over the leaks because it gives us more information that I can interpret and understand and give some speculation and debate about. So, the Koro leaks are there. Generally, as soon as we get one of these leaks, within the next few days or so, we're going to get a trailer anyhow. So, if something comes up later on this week, I will be doing a recap coverage of that trailer and talking about some ideas based on the stuff in the leaks. And I do highly encourage that you guys go check out Cerebi.net unless you don't want to be spoiled. If you do, stay away at all costs, by all means. But if you're interested in seeing some new information, there's a lot of cool new information there in these leaks. Ultra Beasts are mentioned again, and some interesting evolutionary aspects based on differences of the two games. I'm not going to get into too much, as I say. If you don't want to be spoiled, of course, I don't want to give you any spoilers here. But if you're interested, go to Cerebi.net, and they're working on translating everything on these pages of the Koro leak, and cool stuff is coming. That's all I can say. And in other news, well, what we can cover, as you can see right here, actually, no, you can't, I gotta bring it up. What you can see, if I can find it, right here, a new Alola form has been revealed. It is Alolan Oak. That's what people are saying this as a joke, right? Regional variant researcher, is this Professor Oak's Alola form? Samson Oak does research on the regional variants that have taken root in the Alola region. He's a cousin of the Professor Oak, that's right, the famous authority on Pokemon research in the Kanto region, and he kind of filters in a Johto here and there too, as we saw in Silver. The two could practically be twins, and that's all there is to say about that. But it's cool that, like, so far we've only seen Alola forms of Kanto Pokemon, and now in a sense we're given an Alola form of Professor Oak himself. So, I don't know, it's kind of a neat little thing that they're doing. That leads me to think that, although, as we were saying in the question of the day from last week, Lightning Malittens was talking about having like an Alolan Garchomp. I mean, I'm certainly all for having Alola forms from every generation if that's what Pokemon and Game Freak want to do. But like, I'm okay with the thought that if we have nothing but Kanto Alola forms, it makes sense that we would have the Alola form of Professor Oak. Plus, Oak is the professor that started all of the professorings in the world of Pokemon, so it stands to reason that if they were going to make an Alola form of Oak, and I'm still calling that an Alola form, but if they're going to make an Alolan version of a professor, it should be Professor Oak because he is the initial one that started it all. But that is a little bit of insight into some more stuff in Sun and Moon, so another Professor Oak is coming up, kind of cool. Now for some news regarding Pokemon Go. A few things are on the Pokemon website. The Pokemon GO Plus is going to be coming out very soon, just around the corner. September 16th it's supposed to release. I think in my local area, I've heard that they've all been sold out and pre-ordered and stuff, so I wasn't really that interested myself in getting one anyway, but there are a lot of people that want to use this because it's going to make it much simpler for you to go around playing Pokemon Go. If you don't recall, the Pokemon GO Plus is a attachment, or what would you call it? What is that term? Peripheral, I think? It's something that goes along with the game. It's like a wrist-mounted band that has like a certain Pokemon. You can see the image, right? But has a Pokemon Go thing on the wrist, and it's basically going to be one button activated. It says, as you have this on your wrist, you can just go around. Your phone will be in your pocket. You can be completely heads up. No more walking into traffic. No more walking off cliffs. We're going to be safe now. Although we should have been safe the entire time. But anyway, and you're going to have one button activation as you approach a PokéStop. It's going to light up and vibrate to let you know that you're near a PokéStop, and you can simply just push the button and get your items from that. Also, if you pass by a Pokemon nearby, it's going to light up and vibrate, and with one simple touch, you throw a Pokeball. Now, they don't say exactly that you manage to catch it, of course. It's going to be probably the same chances we've had of catching things. They can still break out, possibly run away. I think if I was to use the Pokemon GO Plus, I would prefer that as like, I could just put my phone in my pocket and walk, and as soon as I feel the vibration, I would check the phone. Because I don't know if they say there's a way that you can sort of change your items. Like, instead of, if a Pokeball doesn't work on a Pokemon and it breaks out, if you're using just the button, I don't know how you'd be able to switch to a Great Ball or an Ultra Ball or throw a berry or something like that. I would think you'd still need to use the phone to do those more specific actions, but I don't know, maybe there's going to be something that they give you the option to do with the Pokemon GO Plus. But if you're interested in that, it does come out September 16th. And as I say, in my area, I think they might be sold out already from pre-orders. So feel free to ask around your area if you're interested and see if you can get yourself one of those pre-ordered or on the day they come out. Another thing is coming up in Pokemon Go soon too, a buddy Pokemon system. Now, you probably heard about this if you've been following Pokemon Go. If you've been playing the game, you realize it's kind of hard to get candy for some things. Like, the idea with evolving Pokemon, for example, Charmander into Charmeleon, you would have to capture a certain number of Charmander, gaining 3 candy from each one, plus a 4th candy if you transfer it to Professor Willow. And it's going to take 15 Charmander candies to evolve one of your Charmander into Charmeleon. So, it's hard to get candy for certain Pokemon that you don't often see in the wild. But the buddy Pokemon system is going to make it so that as you walk with a Pokemon that you select as your buddy, you'll see it on your avatar screen, and you're supposed to unlock in-game bonuses, which includes candy. Now, it doesn't say what else it is. I would assume maybe just some experience points or something, but it's going to unlock candy for the Pokemon that you're taking with you, I'm sure. So if you're walking around with your Charmander, you gain some Charmander candy, and eventually you can evolve it up into Charmeleon off of that. So no more will you need to just go and capture waves and waves of Pokemon to get the candy you need to evolve things up. Over time, you should be able to get the candy you need using this buddy system. But they also say that there's going to be more in store with the Pokemon buddy system, which they don't really allude to yet. They say it's coming soon, and I'm not sure what more they can do, but an idea that I always had, what I thought would have been cool with, I think even back as early as when Gen 4 Diamond and Pearl came out, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if they had like a Heart Gold, Soul Silver kind of a thing where you have a Pokemon following you, and you put your game into sleep mode and put it in your pocket. Because in sleep mode, you can still do your Street Pass and such. So what if they had it so that if your game is in sleep mode and you have, say, Pikachu as your buddy system, or your buddy Pokemon, and you pass by somebody else who has their game in sleep mode and they have, say, like a Squirtle, wouldn't it be cool if you would hear your Pikachu through the speaker shouting, Pikachu! And then you could hear somebody across the way, Squirtle, Squirtle! And then you would know immediately there's another Pokemon trainer in that area. It's almost like in the games when, you're walking by and suddenly there's an exclamation point over someone's head. They're like, hey, let's battle! Because that would be cool if you could, interact with people that way. Now, of course, in Pokemon Go, they don't yet have person-to-person battling. It's only battling at the gyms. But if they implement that kind of one-on-one battle system, it'd be neat if they put that kind of a thing in Pokemon Go where you'll get an indication when there's somebody nearby battling. Of course, if you're in a really big city with hundreds of people playing every day, your phone would be going off like crazy, Pikachu screaming at everybody walking left and right, but you'd still get to meet more trainers at least. But that is the updates coming for Pokemon Go, hopefully pretty soon. I've heard that the buddy system is being implemented and being pushed out in sort of like a staggered sort of push out for certain areas. I don't have it yet for my phone or my area, but once I get it, I might do another video just to show off what the new feature is. And as I said, I think last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, but I think it was last week, there's not too much that I can show off in Pokemon Go, so the videos have kind of stopped for the time being. They're not gone forever, it's just a matter of when there's enough content to really provide a decent video to give you guys an update on that. So anyway, that is all for Pokemon Go for the time being. Now, for those of you that like the Pokemon TCG, I just found this out in researching the news today. There's a pretty nice set coming out, a nice collection. It is the Pokemon TCG Super Premium Collection, Mew and Mewtwo. Take a look here at all the stuff you get. It comes with a sculpted figure of Mewtwo and Mew together, 10 Pokemon TCG Generations booster packs, you get 3 collector boxes with 12 dividers to organize your cards how you see fit, you get an online code card, of course, to unlock all these goodies in the Pokemon TCG online game. You have a cool-looking art book that shows behind-the-scenes information about the life of a Pokemon TCG illustrator. I guess how they come up with the ideas for the cards and maybe what programs they use to do it. Some of them are hand-drawn, some of them are done by computer. So there's all this information you're going to get on that, I'm sure. And what else is there? So the only other thing to mention is, this is kind of cool. 2 Pokemon EX, Mew-EX and Mewtwo-EX, featuring never-before-seen art. But these are both Pokemon that we have had before, and for those of you that love this idea, Mew-EX with the versatile ability is back in promo form. Mew-EX is versatile, allows it to use the attack of any Pokemon in play. So it's kind of like the Breakthrough or Breakpoint Mew, in that it lets you use any of your basic Pokemon attacks, but Mew-EX, for the cost of possibly giving up 2 prizes if it gets knocked out, that Mew-EX can use the attack of any Pokemon in play, yours or the opponent's, Basic, Mega, Stage 2, anything. So that's kind of cool that it's coming back. It was legal for the expanded format because it was from Legendary Treasures, I think that was called, but it was legal for that previous expanded format, and it was not legal for standard. So it's still currently legal for the expanded format as it is, and you know, standard is still not legal for. But with this new promo card coming out, it is going to be standard legal, because all promo cards of the X and Y 01 and up are legal for the standard format. So we're going to see the versatile Mew coming back. As for the Mewtwo, as you saw, it has the Photon Wave and Burn, I think it is. I can't remember exactly, but the card was covered up. But we've seen that Mewtwo-EX before. Photon Wave, I believe, is a 30 damage attack that reduces damage by 30 from the defending Pokemon on the following turn. I can't recall the other attack, but I think it's like 2 Psychic, 2 Colorless Energy, does 120 or something like that. But anyway, obviously, I'm more interested in that Mew-EX. Not that I use Pokemon EX, but if I was to use them, I really like the versatile aspect of using any of your, you know, other Pokemon in play, or any of the opponent's attacks also. So, this Pokemon TCG Super Premium Collection is currently available, or starting on September 14th it'll be available, which is this Wednesday. Available at the Pokemon Center and Barnes & Noble stores. Now, it's going to be exclusive to those locations for the time being, but on October 3rd, it should be available at any participating store that sells Pokemon TCG products. So, if you don't have a Pokemon Center or Barnes & Noble in your area, stay put, you know, hold tight. Hopefully, you'll get one nearby on October 3rd when they go released in other stores. So, the only other thing to go over at the moment is the results of the Anova Classic, which I participated in, was it 3 weekends ago now? It was a little while ago. This was, of course, the triple battle format for Gen 5, in which only the first 5 generations of Pokemon, of course, were permitted. Restricted legendaries and mythical Pokemon were banned, certain items were banned, no Mega Evolutions, and as I said, I started off on a rough start of the whole competition. The first 6 battles I was completely destroyed in, but then I won the next 4, and over the course of the weekend, I was doing pretty okay. We have the final results now. Starting at a rank of 1,500 points, as everybody does, I ended off with 1,528 for points, so I went above the mid-mark, although I did sort of break even with 15 wins, 15 losses of the 30 matches that I played. But the ranking points are kind of a better way to determine this, because 3 of the battles that I won technically were against people that just forfeited immediately because they just wanted to get their participation prize of the Pokemon giveaway. So I wouldn't have gained a lot of rank points for that. So the fact that I basically had 3 wins that were not really, you know, good ranked wins, and I still came out at 1528, I'm happy with that. Overall, my rank was 4,312 out of a maximum of 15,323 players all over the world, which puts me in the top 30%, which was cool. As far as my particular region in Canada, I ranked 132 out of 541, which is the top 25%. So I was like in the top quarter of all the players in Canada. So not perfect, but I'm happy with that. I'll take that for sure. So let's take a look at my participation prize. As you can see here, I'm going to open up my game. It is Enz's Darmanitan. So this Pokemon here has Thrash, Belly Drum, Flare Blitz, and Hammer Arm for the moveset. The ability is Zen Mode, changes the Pokemon's shape when HP is half or less, and becomes a Fire and Psychic type at that point. I think the defenses changed too at that point. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't really used Darmanitan before, but it has arrived at level 35. It is Calm Nature, which is not the best, as you'll see. It is a boost to attack, but lowering special defense. I'd rather lower the special attack if I could, but it's not my choice, of course. This is the nature that Darmanitan was given to me with, and apparently a Fateful Encounter, and it likes to run. But you see there, it does boost the attack. Or no, wait. That boosts special defense and lowers attack. I have the backwards way around. So, not terribly good because we're losing the attack stat. However, look at the attack stat already. It's like double the other stats except for speed. So, it's actually not too bad. With the right super training, I could turn this thing into a possible decent fighting Pokemon. Or fire Pokemon, so be it. But that is my participation prize. Now let's take a look at the Pokemon Global Link, and I just want to show this off. I usually do this at the end of each of the online competitions. This is a cool little feature, which is soon going to be going on a hiatus as they prepare for Sun and Moon. But for the time being, if you're curious, you can take a look at these online competitions. You can see your own personal ranking. You can see the ranking of all over the world. But you can also go in here and take a look at the Pokemon, which ones were the most used in the competition, and what they were used against and such like that. So the obvious top one that was used the most would be Landorus in the Therian form, ground flying type. and it gives you a nice breakdown of all sorts of information once it loads up. There we go. So it shows you the move set, for example. Well, not the move set, but the most popular moves that this Pokemon used. So 95.4% of all Terracion's coming up, but 95.4% of all Landorus had Earthquake, and 85.1% of them had Rock Slide. So you can see here, this gives you an idea, if you want to use this kind of a Pokemon, which one was the most used and therefore probably the most successful. So you can choose that, or you can choose how can I counter against this Pokemon. For example, a quick idea would be Wide Guard. You can block any of those attacks, those wide range attacks if you needed to. So that gives you the idea for the moves. You can see the most used ability. Well, they all had Intimidate. The nature, most of them were Adamant, which is a boost to attack while lowering special attack. That's the nature I should have had for my Darmanitan. Oh well. And Jolly was another one, which increases speed while lowering special attack. The held item was most often, well, I don't know, 39% had Choice Scarf, and almost as much, not quite, but a lot of them had Assault Vest as well. So that should give you some ideas how you can run this kind of a Pokemon for yourself. When victorious, this thing, top 10 Pokemon this Pokemon defeated, we have Terrakion, Heatran, well, Earthquake would destroy Heatran for sure, Tyranitar, Smeargle, so you can see here all the things that it defeated. When it was defeated, what most likely defeated it? We have Terrakion, Heatran, so those are some popular choices also. And it shows you most likely what the attack was. Ice Beam knocked this out 10.5% of the time. You would think Ice Beam would be a little bit more higher up on the list, being double weak to Ice, but I don't know, maybe they weakened it with an Ice Beam and then Rock Slide finished it up. You can also go back here to Battle Box, and top 10 Pokemon found in the Battle Box with this Pokemon. It breaks it right down here. You can click, for example, let's click Terrakion, because I want to mention this thing. If you click that, you go to this information. It most likely had Rock Slide, Close Combat, for example. And I was talking with another user on, well, both the videos that I put up and on Twitter, and they said that, first of all, Guardian Diancie was the name. Hi, Guardian Diancie. And they were saying that they often encountered Terrakion with a very, don't want to say broken strategy, but a very powerful strategy, let's call it that. Let's check the ability, first of all. Justified. Justified says every time this Pokemon is hit by a dark type attack, its attack stage increases by 1. Now, what they would do is combine this with Whimsicott. Let's see what moves Whimsicott quite often had. Beat Up, a dark type attack that inflicts 1 hit for each team member that you have in your team. The combo was they would have Whimsicott use Beat Up on their own Terrakion. For 6 hits, it's getting +6 attack. Terrakion would then use things like Rock Slide, Earthquake, all these super powerful hits. I've only encountered one of those myself in the Unova Classic, but Guardian Diancie mentioned that they encountered quite a few of them, and I can imagine how frustrating that would be, just completely getting destroyed time and time again by these Terrakion that are at +6 attack. I only encountered one, but after the first encounter I realized if I see it again, I know the idea is have Machamp use Wide Guard, block that Rock Slide. It wouldn't help with the Close Combat, which is another popular attack of Terrakion also, but it would at least give me maybe 1 turn to sort of try to get something else set up. It's too bad I didn't have Topsy-Turvy on the team. I could switch all those +6 attack to -6 attack. But anyway, Global Link is a pretty good resource if you want to come and check out how the VGC is looking for Pokemon and what common things are used for your main Pokemon teams and such. So I highly recommend it. I'm not sure what's going to be different, if anything, when the new Sun and Moon version comes up, but I'm sure they'll have the same kind of stuff for these online competitions. And I do know they're going to make it so that you can set up your own rules for an online competition as well in the future. So, I believe that is pretty much all I have to cover as far as news for the week. I can now get to the question of the day as I prepare to open up the Phantom Forces booster pack. Now, the question of the day, kind of in relation to the fact that Koro has leaked, we're seeing constantly new Pokemon, new information, like new species, new Alola forms, new ideas of, Ultra Beasts and such. So, this kind of relates to what I was talking about in the Silver episode I recorded earlier today, but you'll see it later on. The question of the day for this week is, which new Pokemon are you most excited to see in battle in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon? By that I mean, do you just want to see what it does, or do you want to be the one using it in battle, or do you want to fight against it? Any of that is game, just whichever ones you want to see, or whichever Pokemon you most want to see in battle, either for attack animations or just like form changes or such. Just let me know which one you want to see in battle most and why. Leave your comment down below, or leave your answer in a comment down below, and use hashtag QOTD in your comment. And on Sunday, which is September 18th, I'll do a search of all the comments that use the hashtag and randomly select one person to receive the code card from the Phantom Forces pack that I will open up in just a moment as I answer my own question of the day. I don't know. I know definitely one Pokemon I want to see in battle is Wishiwashi. Mostly because I'm curious to see how does schooling work. Now, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, I've seen various clips of the way Wishiwashi works. We know schooling says when Wishiwashi hits a certain level, schooling will activate and it can summon a whole bunch more Wishiwashi and they form into their giant submarine, school form, right? But I've seen some footage where it starts battle and it does schooling immediately. I've seen some battles or some footage where it takes a hit and then becomes the school form. And I've seen some battles where the school form takes a hit and it reverts to the single Wishiwashi. So schooling is breaking my brain a little bit, and I'm like, I need to know more about this schooling. So Wishiwashi is definitely one of the ones I want to see in battle. Other than that, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't want to see any of them in battle. I want to see them all in battle. As for which ones I want to use, I was mentioning in the Silver episode as well that I normally will not look at Pokemon from a new game before it comes out and decide which species I want to use. So I'm not doing that, but what I am doing is I'm looking at types of Pokemon that I don't have a lot of in my collection as it is right now, and I'm choosing what types I want to choose Pokemon from in the new games. For example, I do know I want to choose a Rock-type Pokemon, which means I'm probably going to go ahead and choose Rockruff, because I know Rockruff has a lot of interesting stuff in these games. There's the, Koro leak, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's something to do with the two different versions of the games, I think. It might be time of day, but anyway. So Rockruff is probably going to be one of the ones that I choose, and I do know I need another Ice and Steel type on the team. Sandshrew is one of my favorite Pokemon. You kind of see where I'm going with this. A Lola form would be cool to have, let's just say that. So anyway, I think off the top of my head, I will say Wishiwashi is the first one that I can think of that I want to see in battle. Not necessarily to use, I just want to see how schooling works. As for yourselves, leave your answer down below and again say which Pokemon you want to see in battle and why. Is it because you want to use it or you just want to see what it does? All that good stuff. And leave your answer down below as I open up the Phantom Forces pack right now and see what cards I get. And so, as always, with the next backdrop of our Pikachu-EX Red and Blue collection, which I didn't mention yet, but I'm holding on to this for an unboxing on camera if and when we hit 1,000 subscribers before the next big collection, which I don't even know what it would be after the Pikachu-EX collection. But if I do get 1,000 subscribers by then, I want to open this on camera and give out the online code card to a viewer, but I also want to have a physical copy of this mailed out to another viewer for answering the question of the day in the video when I open this. And as a nice sort of a throwback for hitting 1,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm sure many of you that have been following me for a while are sick of hearing me say that, but for any new people out there that are interested, I just want to make sure you guys are aware of the upcoming giveaway for when we finally hit 1,000 subscribers, because I'm pretty sure we'll get there at some point. We're already at like about 850 right now, so we're gradually getting there. That being said, now let's open up the Phantom Forces with the Aegislash on the front and see what cards I happen to get. Now, if you're not super interested in the cards from this set, remember, you can always trade an unopened pack online for specific cards that you might be looking for. So let's pop this back open a little bit more as we grab this code card and keep it off to the side until Sunday, September 18th, when I will be drawing one name that answers the question using hashtag QOTD to receive that card. Now, let's see what we get. I'm hoping I can find a Versus Seeker, because those are not only very useful in the game, but I've heard they're quite expensive too, so not that I ever really sell cards. But anyway, let's get to the cards. We have a Purloin, we've got a Suwaddle, a Frillish, Dano, and a Gligar. Uncommon cards begin with a Liepard, we have a Croconaw, a Hand Scope. Your opponent reveals his or her hand. Alright then. The reverse foil card is a Litwick with Trip Over. That's always a fun attack. And the rare card is going to be a Bronzong with Metal Links. Definitely useful. Once during your turn before your attack, you may attach a Metal Energy card from the discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Hammer In does 60 damage. This thing is not here for the attack. The ability is amazing, being able to constantly retrieve energy, and that speeds up energy acceleration as well. Essentially, you attach 2 energy per turn, plus 1 more for each other Bronzong that can use Metal Links. So that is what I got out of the pack. No Versus Seeker, nothing super crazy amazing, but this is actually quite useful, this Bronzong. So for your chance to win this code card, once again, just answer the question of the day with hashtag QOTD. Question is, which new Pokemon are you most excited to see in battle in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, and why? Do you want to use it? Do you want to fight against it? Do you want to see what the abilities do, such as schooling? I want to be schooled on what schooling means. Anyway, leave your answer down below with a hashtag QOTD, and on Sunday, September 18th, I will draw one lucky person to win, this code card for Pokemon TCG Online of the Fandom Forces pack. With all that, I want to say thank you for checking out today's news update video thingy, everybody. Come on back later on today for our first episode of Pokemon Silver for the week, which I'm going to say is our final week of Pokemon Silver on the channel, because we are going to finish up the last things that we need to do in that game before moving on to Gen 3, which will be starting, I want to say, probably, at this rate, I'm thinking Thursday. But we'll see how things go. Anyway, once again, thanks for checking out the news update video thingy, and if you're not currently subscribed, feel free to do so. We'll boost our numbers towards getting this unboxing and giveaway put together here on the channel, and I look forward to seeing you come back for some more videos. Alright, Professor Chaz is now signing off for the day, until later for Silver, and I'll catch you next time.